Welcome back, Physics 30. This is the second part to the Speed and Velocity Part 2 booklet. So I believe this is where we left off. You have, for question 6, a graph that looks something like this. Yours is neater than mine. I had to redraw it, and it's all messed up here, as you'll see why in a second. So we have this graph here. For the following position time graph, determine the average velocity for the interval. So velocity is displacement over time. So from 0 to 40 seconds. So 0 to 40 seconds. So here we go. So this, make a point at 0 seconds and at 40 seconds. I'm really going to figure out the slope of this dotted line joining the two. So this point's easy. It's 0, 0. This one's 40, comma. That's approximately 160 if you look in your graph. Mine's not as great as yours, but you'll see that it matches up with 160. So this is my T1, D1 and my T2, D2 point. So of course, change in displacement over change in time, D2 minus D1 divided by T2 minus T1. So 160 minus 0 over 40 minus 0. And you can see that works out to be 4 meters per second. 4.0 meters per second, and we should put that positive there because that indicates a direction, some positive movement from the start. And if we're looking from 20 to 50, so at a time of 20 it works out to be around 280 meters in the positive direction, and at 50 it's, if you look at your graph, it's plus 20. So my T1 D1 point and my T2 D2, so D2 minus D1, 20 minus 280 over T2 minus T1, 50 minus 20. So we do get a negative answer there, and we should because we're going in the opposite direction there. So minus 8.7 meters per second. Okay, so just finding the points in the graph and really figuring out the slope here when we're doing velocity. Okay. Next page, a little more tricky here. Looking at speed this time. And speed is distance over time, the total distance over the total time. So if we look over here from 0 to 40 seconds, we're looking at the entire path that we made. So we went a total of 100, 200, 300 meters. And then 100, and then another 40 to get to the 160 mark. Okay, so we have to be very careful there. We went 300, and then a further 140 meters in the opposite direction. We're not concerned about direction, we're just concerned about every single step we made. So 300, because we see that lines up with 300, and then to get to the 160 marker, we must have gone 140 in this direction, because 140 and 160 gives me 300. And it's the same time here, 40 seconds, so we went 11 meters per second. Okay? Looking at the other movement here, if from 20 to 50 seconds, the total steps that we've taken, if we take a look here, if this is the 280 marker, to get to the 300 marker, that's 20. And over here, if this is the 20 marker here, I must have gone 280 in the backwards direction. So in total here, that 20 and that 280 gives me a total of 300 meters in a 30-second period there, because we're going from 20 to 50. It's a difference of 30 seconds. I get 10 meters per second as an answer. And with two sig figs here, I just put a line over the 0 indicating that that is significant. Okay, so be careful with that one. Vocab terms here, we just have the one, I believe. Average velocity. Change in displacement during an elapsed time when motion is not uniform. So it could be speeding up, slowing down, changing direction, etc. Finding the 2 points on the graph in question for the 2 times. To the 2 clock readings, D2 minus D1 over T2 minus T1. Okay, so I believe that's it. That's part 2 of the speed and velocity booklets. We'll see you shortly for part 3.